Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mike Steele with Barbecue Champs Academy, and it is so great to have everybody with us tonight. We're looking for a great show with Mr. Phillip Breeden with LC BBQ, and we're going to get a chance to talk to him, find out a little bit about his background in barbecue, and on top of that, we're going to get to talk to him about all his incredible rubs that he has, and some tips on perhaps some things to look at for going to the American Royal. I know we got a lot of folks that will be going up to the Royal this year. Phillip's going to be one of them as well, and going to have a great show. Got a lot of questions for us. Let us know. We'll certainly let him know and see if we can get some of them answered for you. In the meantime, let us know that you're coming in. Caitlin, I see that you're here. Good to have you. You always can count on you, Manny. Thank you for being here. I think you had an absolutely outstanding weekend, if I recall, in SCA competition, so congratulations. Monty, we appreciate you being here. Mr. Hottie Toddy himself, Mr. Ronald Burns, thank you, buddy, for joining us tonight. Looking to have a great show with Mr. Phil. So, Morgan, thank you. Appreciate you being here. And yeah, we kind of got lucky with the hurricane coming up. We are in the far northwest corner of Louisiana. We got just a few little outer bands of rain for about 45 minutes to an hour. Very little rain and very little wind. So we was very fortunate. But I do want to have everybody to keep all of our barbecue brothers and all the people down there in South Louisiana in our thoughts and prayers. I've talked to a couple people, and it was just absolutely devastating. I've had a few of them tell me it was even worse than Katrina for the simple fact of how slow it was moving, and it was just so much wind. They had gusts, they reported, of 172 miles an hour in some places, and it was such a slow-moving storm. I mean, this thing had only moved inland about 50 miles in 5.5 hours. So this thing was just constant pounding and pounding of wind, lots and lots of heavy rain. Katrina was really bad from just the levees breaching and the flooding, but this was just utter devastation with just winds that was pretty much well stayed over 140 miles an hour for almost 4 straight hours, and it was taking a beating on some of these houses, trees, power lines, everything. So let's keep all of those down in South Louisiana in our thoughts and in our prayers. Also, I want to make mention of a very dear friend, Waldo Strand. He passed away this morning. Waldo was the original founding father of IBCA. He was just an absolute unbelievable man, and I always look forward to talking to Waldo at cook-offs and stuff. I'd always call him a couple times, 2 or 3 times throughout the year, and just chat with him. And I'm just going to be sad that he is no longer with us. I know Barb loved and appreciated him so much, so we certainly want to remember his wife, Barb, in our thoughts and prayers as well, and the entire Strand family. So we've lost a great one, and let's certainly keep them in our thoughts and our prayers. Got a few more folks in here. Mr. Bill Purvis, glad to have you on here. I hear perhaps you're going to be going up to Georgia with Phil. I think he said he's going to go up there this weekend. So looking forward to seeing how you guys do. Papa Joe Grilling Supplies in Hutto, Texas. Chuck and Vanessa, we do appreciate you being not only on our show week in and week out, but being an absolutely incredible partner. We so appreciate you guys so much for stepping up and getting almost every single rub that we have in all of our barbecue and steak classes. We do appreciate it. Merv, thank you for being here as well. James, happy Tuesday. Thank you, sir. I hope you've had a good week so far, and I know you and Erica look like y'all are off and running for another good run in IBCA. So, John, we appreciate you being here as always, week in and week out. Hey, look who else we have here with Mr. Robert. Hey, buddy, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. And I tell you what, man, congratulations on El Campo. Absolutely knocked it out the park. I hadn't just got a chance to talk to you since then, but man, you did a lights out job down there, man. Congratulations. So, Paul, appreciate you being here. Merrick, thank you for being here. Mr. Rick, hey, buddy, man, I tell you what, you seem just to be so consistent up there in the SCA and doing a great job. I am so happy for you and everything that you've accomplished in these last couple years. So, Juke, appreciate you being here. And look out who else we got here. Mr. Lee Hickle has joined. Man, we got quite a few folks on here. Lee's with us. Lee, appreciate you being here, man. Lee's had a pretty good week going so far. Just kind of relaxing, chilling out up there, getting ready for another competition. He has just been a road warrior this year, cooking KCBS competitions. We've been trying to get Lee on the show, and I was trying for next week, but he's in the middle of traveling, so we're going to definitely get Lee on. We will plan on going live at the American Royal two or three times leading into the Royal, so we'll definitely have quite a few of our guys that's going to be there, and it should be some great footage. We're taking our film crew with us up to the American Royal as well, so we're going to be able to get lots of video and lots of behind-the-scenes footage for everybody. Brian, appreciate you being here as always. Danny, thanks for showing up as well. Darian, appreciate you being here. Troy, thanks so much for being here and your support for Barbecue Champs. We really do appreciate it. And Ram, thank you for showing up. Appreciate you being here as well. Real quick, we want to kind of go into all of our sponsors that we have. We couldn't do what we do without them. And I certainly want to give a big shout out to Mr. Danny Helm at Be Extreme Barbecue. Also, the good folks at B&B Charcoal. They're slowly but surely just getting everything kind of lined out, and still absolutely love their charcoal. I use their lump in all of my barbecue cooking. I use the hickory, and I've played around with the oak as well. So if you're needing it, I know that you can still get it at Academy. Academy was pretty stocked up the last time I went. You can also order it from Ace Hardware as well. Mr. Brian Crawford at Lone Star Barbecue Pro Shop. He's got some great product there himself with his rubs that he has, the Crawford's Barbecue Pit product line. And he carries just about every rub known to mankind as well. Papa Joe Grilling Supplies in Hutto, Texas, who we just mentioned just a minute ago with Chuck and Vanessa. Absolutely outstanding, and appreciate their support. Also, Mr. David at Gunter Wilhelm. Some of the absolute best knives that I have ever come across. Wicked sharp. And you just can't beat it. If you were looking for a new line of knives, check out Gunter Wilhelm. My good buddy John Lindsay and Ronald Burns, Hottie Toddy himself, has got him a new company going with steakrubs.com, or a new website. Steakrubs.com is where you can get it. They've got a ton of steak stuff they're slowly incorporating, and they're going to have a bunch of barbecue stuff on there as well. And finally, my good buddy down in Hempstead, Texas, Dustin Stanley at the Barbecue Store. He has got a phenomenal store down there. I've got a chance to go in there when I was in Hempstead last year. And great store, fast shipping. I think they got a UPS center literally right next door to them. And I've seen literally ordering stuff at 4:30 before, and they get it out the same day. So if you're in a pinch for needing something quick, the last minute, you can always check those guys out at the barbecue store as well. Got a few more folks that's come on here, and if you've got any questions, certainly let us know. We'll certainly get them to Phil. Let's see, is going to make us, Phil Lee says, Phillip Breeden is going to make us laugh. Great guy with great stories. Yes, he always has some good stories. Trey, we appreciate you being here as well. Look, we got about 48 folks here, and they're steadily coming on board. So let's go ahead and bring in the man of the hour, the man, the myth, the legend. Everybody wants to be like this man himself. And it is this man right here, Mr. Cool Breeze. That's going to be a new nickname I'm going to have to give to you. Phil, man,
hey, Mike,
I tell you
how
what.
You doing?
Man, I am doing good, Phillip. So I know some people call you Phil, some people call you Phillip. Just call me Cool Breeze, right? So anyway.
I don't know that one yet, but we can start a new trend.
Heck yeah. Why not? How you been doing, buddy?
Yeah, things are good. Yeah, good. Just
That's
getting ready
good.
for another week of competition. That's what we do these days.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you and Lee and Bill, and man, I'm so proud of you guys. The Texas boys decided to get out and show out with these KCBS guys across the entire United States, and it seems like pretty much wherever you go, you boys are showing up and showing out, and I'm very proud of everything that all three of you guys have done. So congratulations on a good year going this year in KCBS for your first time. And huge congratulations on this right here. The 2020 IBCA Cook of the Year. Man, that's a tough deal to hit. And congratulations on an outstanding year. You just absolutely throttled it that year.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Very, very happy for you. So you've got numerous grand and reserve grand champions in both IBCA and even your short time in KCBS. You've already knocked out quite a few of the grands and reserve grand champions in that as well. So, Phil, tell me a little bit about the man behind the beard and the cool shades. I mean, did you? How long have you been in barbecue? Did you have somebody when you was growing up, a mom or dad or uncle or something that was always out grilling and tugging on their coattail and wanting to do it, or is this something you just, hey, I want to go into barbecue? How'd you get started?
Yeah, so growing up, we never really did any of that. He barbecued occasionally, and it was always good when he did, but wasn't extremely often or whatever. So it wasn't really a culture in the household. But as I got older, mainly I found myself cooking a lot in deer camps or dove camp, or it kind of didn't matter. Over the course of my life, I've been on quite a few hunting trips, and that's normally when you're having cold beer and then cooking something good around the campfire. And I've always enjoyed cooking, whether it was in the house or on a grill or a fire or whatever. But it kind of got serious in 2015. Once again, we were at the deer camp. I was with a buddy of mine, Rob Rogers, and it seems like a few times a week we were out at the deer camp cooking something. Just kind of what you do when you're out there. And people come up, man, it's really good. And even Rob's like, hey, you need to do a competition. And I'm like, oh, they have competition? Didn't know they did. And
right.
There's one in a couple months. So he got me all the info, and he said, man, I'll come cook it with you. And I'll kind of, don't worry about it. I didn't know anything. I didn't know, how's this go? I had tons of questions. Anyway, we signed up for that and ended up doing that cook-off. It was in January of 2015. So
okay. So that was your first. That was your first competition. Okay.
Yep, that was my first cook-off. So we did that. Ended up hitting first place brisket that day, and that's what.
It's the same thing I did. My first competition ever cooked, and IBCA of 50 teams, they hit a first place brisket. I guess if you was like me, I was hooked at that point. So.
Yeah, I think we all probably have similar stories. At some point, the hook was set, because we're here. We're all doing this every weekend.
Yeah.
And we're a little bit nuts for doing it. I mean, I would say we are, is for what we do. But at some point, that's when the hook was set for me. I mean, just out of the gates like that. I could have, not hit that first place brisket. I was pretty disappointed in ribs and chicken. Like, oh, okay. And then, if brisket had gone the same way, I'm like, we'll just go back to the deer camp. And I might not be sitting here talking to you, Mike, but
I know it. I know it.
So, I was quickly on to the next one, and started out the first couple of years doing 8, 10, 12 cook-offs a year. And then in 2018 is when I just kind of started. It wasn't on purpose. I never really thought, hey, I'm just going to cook every weekend. It just kind of happened. I went and cooked. It was Hold 'em and Hit 'em. I think it was January 6, 2018, something like that. And, I didn't take a weekend off for like 40 or 50 weekends. It was a long time before I missed even one. And then even the past 2018, we're in 2021. Most of the time I've had weekends off or time off because of COVID shutting things down. We pretty much cooked every single weekend since January of 2018. So
wow. I tell you what, that's quite the story. And it ain't funny. I mean, you're like me. I mean, the hook was set. I was like, man, this is great. I'm ready to cook. I was like, it's just, it's fun. And the people that you meet, the barbecue brothers and sisters that we've got out there are so great. To me, that's what makes it. It's a whole new family, And I remember a good buddy of mine when I was doing a lot of drag racing. I remember him telling me about halfway through our season one year, and he said, when you get 50 years old, if you can count all your friends on one hand, he said you're a blessed guy. And before I got into barbecue, outside of my church family, outside of the church, I didn't have. I mean, I had David, was my partner on the racing, and 2 or 3 other guys, and that was really it. And but then when I got into barbecue, I mean, it's like, holy crap! I got hundreds of family, and it's really a blessed thing to have so many great men and women, that is in this arena, and it's just fun. It's just a great family. So
for sure.
Yeah. So you've been cooking. Started 2015 was your first one, you said?
Correct.
2015, and then you really went after it full throttle in 2018. So. Yeah,
2018 we ended up. I think I ended up number 4 in IBCA, and again in 2019 I was number 4, and then 2020
Blew it
won
out.
IBCA Cook of the Year, and even going into last year, had dabbled in the KCBS, and I knew that was felt like the next challenge I wanted to go after, and I did really well in IBCA the end of last year, and really the first of the year I did the trailer cook off and ended up reserving that, which was pretty awesome. And then
Yeah.
I only
Yeah.
did a couple more just because just time allowing. If kind of it's hard to chase both.
Yeah. Right.
So everything was kind of most of my attention was on KCBS, and that's what
Yeah.
this year's pretty much been about. We got a couple more months of that left, so we'll see how things
Right.
shake out.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So, we know the differences between IBCA, KCBS, half-hour turn-ins, all 4 meets instead of an hour and a half. A lot more traveling, obviously.
Yeah.
What's your likes and from KCBS that you really like about it? And is there any dislikes that you've got with KCBS?
I think each sanction and body has their own perks or pluses and minuses. KCBS, the things I like about that is I do like the garnish, and kind of weird being from Texas, but the boxes, I was intimidated at first, my first few KCBS, and like I didn't really know how to put greens in the box, and I wasn't really fond of it because it's the unknown for us. That's like,
Right.
why we got to do that? It's a lot easier to put a piece of foil on the bottom of the box
Right.
and rock on. But I've learned how to kind of do those methods pretty fast. I use kale, and I
Mm-hmm.
could do a box in five minutes if I'm going really fast, or 10 or 12 minutes if I'm taking my time. So it's not a whole lot of time invested in doing that, and I think it makes a good looking presentation in a turn in box. If we're looking at pictures on Facebook, or there's Facebook groups out there for competition turn in boxes. Ones with the contrast of a piece of kind of crumpled up full in the background,
Right.
and versus a good looking green box. They make a real good presentation. So yeah, I take pride in my barbecue. I take pride in my turn ins, and I like my food to look good, and I think it looks better. So that's something I like about it. Um, I like the I like the quickness of it. I like that we're done at 1:30. Our last
Right.
turn in is at 1:30, and then after
Yeah.
that, you got the words are typically relatively quick, maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock at the latest. Typically, bigger ones are a little bit later, but and then you're done, and then most everybody leaves, which is okay too, because hey, we're going to do it again next weekend. So
Right. Right. Right.
KCBS seems to be everything. If you want to hang out and visit with friends, you need to get there Thursday evening or super early Friday, because the front end of the window on that is where you do it. And like at an IBCA, there's plenty
We
of
all hang
time where
out. Yeah.
you kind of got, it feels like a lot of time the entire cook off. And
Right.
KCBS is not that way, at least not for me.
Okay.
When I light a fire, which is typically a little after 3 o'clock on Saturday morning, if I've got a few times where I've got 15 minutes like a break or something, but I'm busy the whole time,
Right.
until I turn
Right.
in at 1:30, and then I've got 30 minutes, hour worth of cleanup easy. So
Yeah.
the day goes by really fast, and then you're done, and move on. So I like the quickness of that.
Right.
30 minutes, I think, I do like CBA. I think their hour turn ins probably my favorite, because I don't feel rushed.
Right. Not quite so
Um,
rushed. Yeah.
yeah, I've adopted my methods in KCBS to get my meats done early, and uh, you know, I've worked really hard on my finishing processes and the timing of it. So I don't feel the same strain that I did when I first started cooking out in KCBS. Of the whole day was tense, and like, oh, what am I doing next? Now it's pretty routine. So it's cooking, so things pop up or whatever. But for the most part, it's pretty fluid, and I don't have those same issues as when I first started cooking. So it's like anything else. You figure it out, you learn, and you adapt, and you kind of make your processes work for that. But the speed and quickness and getting things done and being done at 1:30 is what I really like about it. And
Right.
I like the awards too. They go really fast. Typically, they call the team name.
Yeah.
So
It's instant.
yeah, and at first I wasn't really a big fan of that. I've done IBCA so long, and I've learned to keep up with my tickets and memorize the numbers, and
Right.
that kind of the mystique of that I really like. But um, I don't know. I guess I've been converted. Just tell me what team name, and let's get this over
That's
with.
it. That's it. That's pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and I guess it's like anything else. It's a routine. You cook. You kind of got your timing down, and once you figure that process out, it kind of becomes second nature. But I would imagine it is pretty intimidating. I've only cooked two. I cooked the 2017 American Royal Invitation in the Open. I ain't cooked one since. I'm going back this year. So, and Lee's like, you gotta practice, and I was like, I don't care about practicing, but I'm going to do some chickens. And Lee's going to be on here laughing at me. Phillip gave me some advice the other day. He said, heck, I do like I did. Just show up on a Thursday and just practice that one time. You're good to go. Don't worry about it. So I told Lee that. He's like, you better not. So,
Well, I mean, we talked earlier, and you set the bar pretty high, so you got your work cut out. But remember, Mike, what got you there? I
yeah,
mean, remember what caused that success back then. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Do you want to deviate?
No, it's going to be the same, man. I did do a little bit of practice before that one. I am going to, I told Lee this weekend, I said, I'm going to get my cooker out. I'm still trying to determine if I'm going to use a pellet cooker to cook my chicken on or my 22-inch WSM. And I said, I will do some practice this weekend. I'll get my chicken down. I may cook I have not cooked a pork butt since the American Royal in 2017. That was only my second pork butt to ever cook. I had a seventh. And I haven't cooked one. I was going to, do I have a recipe? What did I do back then? So
That's almost hard to do, Mike. I don't know how you've not cooked a pork butt in 4 years or however long that's been. That's a long time.
It's a long time. IBCA doesn't cook them, and I don't cook KCBS, and I haven't done a CBA yet. So it's like
even the occasional, I mean, even when IBCA before, I forget, it's been a few years when they changed that rule, but there was always I don't know, four,
couple
five,
of
six
them,
events
yeah,
that we could do pork butt and IBCA. So,
but never up here in our area. So that's the last one I've cooked. So anyway, but it's fun, I mean, I just joke. I was like, heck, it's a fire. You got meat. You should be able to cook it and cook it right. Manage the fire, do your times, and you're fine. So,
you'll do fine.
I'll do fine. So, but I do have a very good. Before I left to the Royal, and I would tell some people, make you a timeline. I had an Excel spreadsheet. When this goes on, I had like chicken, like inject it, brine it, whatever you're going to do. This goes on this, and I had every column, and I had in yellow. I yellowed it. This has got like the highlights, right? And I had it up there, and I was like, I got to follow this because I had never even practiced one. My wife's like, Suzette was like, don't you want to go cook one? I was like, I'm going to go there. So, and I think what you said, I was listening to what you was talking about, having that time right, and once you kind of get used to it, it become pretty easy. All I knew is I was going to have everything done well in advance. The only thing that was chickens came right off and in the box. And I mean, soon as that chicken in, I cleared off my table. I wasn't no cleaning up no cutting board. Throw it in the trash can, put another one in, and I try to stay ahead. And I can see when you was talking about that, as long as you stay ahead, you're all right. If you ever get behind, I think then you'd be in trouble. So. So what advice you've had a chance to kind of be a newbie in KCBS this year, and we've got a lot of people that may be going to the Royal for the first time. And what advice would you give somebody going into the Royal? A couple key points, something that you felt like this would help somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, and then I kind of take that question too. I feel like a lot of Texas cookers are going this year, and I feel like that might be kind of directed in that area, right? Of first time cookers going. It doesn't matter if you're from Texas or not, but I think there's a lot of people going from Texas.
Yeah.
Really awesome to see. I mean, I love seeing that happening.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you're from. It's your first one. Before you ever go there, you need to ask yourself, what do you want to get out of this experience? Do you want to go win the Royal, or do you want to go experience the Royal, or maybe a little bit of both? I know that was my take on it. Like, hey, I wanted the experience, and I honestly thought 2018 was the first Royal I went to.
Right.
And I really thought it was a bucket list. Like, hey, I'm going to go do it just to say I did it, and I want to experience it, and I
That
doubt I'll
was
ever do it again.
that was mine,
Um, and
100%.
and that was a lot of of feelings from other cooks in Texas and what they thought, and I kind of assumed I would be the same way. And it's so far from that. I mean, if it ever got to the point where I only did one cook off a year, it would be the American roll.
Right, right.
It's that much fun for me. I think it's a really awesome experience, and I've cooked it twice. They canceled it in 20, but 18 and 19, and I walked both times. And really walking at the Royal, there's not much of a to me. I've walked a ton, but a
That's a
walk at the
big.
Royal is just a little bit different. I
It
mean, it's
is.
just a different feeling, and it's pretty surreal.
Right.
So, and I think that's why we show up at cook-offs every Saturday.
Yeah.
It's for awards and to have that feeling,
Right.
replicated every week of that surreal feeling or euphoric or whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah. So setting the expectations of what you want to accomplish out there. Do you want to, are you going to have a serious cook, or are you just going to do it to say you did it? But I would say, make sure you have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you can get there early is best.
Yeah.
That's what we do. You can get there as early as Wednesday morning.
Wednesday. Yeah. We're going Wednesday.
And yeah, Wednesday and Thursday, you can kind of tour the stadium
Hmm.
and see different teams. It's not very busy on Wednesday. People are moving in, and it's really Thursday, probably Thursday after lunch before it starts feeling really packed.
Right.
But you know, that gives you a chance to visit. I mean, when you're talking 500 teams, there's
Yeah.
just
Right.
thousands of people that
Yeah.
you may want to meet or say hi to, even if you know you're talking about ones in the barbecue world. It's going to take you a long time to get around and even see those folks. So the earlier you can get there, the better. And then by the time Friday gets there, it's it's time to start kind of getting serious and thinking
Hmm.
about, hey, we're at it would be no different than any other cook-off you go
Right.
to. Is
Right.
hey, it's time to get serious, and now we pay attention to our meats. Let's get things injected. Let's do our processes,
Right.
and at least make sure you're working that in on a timely schedule. And um, we shut it down pretty early on Friday night. It's game time, and
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
work for the rest of the weekend. So
Yeah.
the experience is something if you can do Wednesday and Thursday, and at Friday to some point, and then it's cook off time. That's kind of how
Yeah.
we do it anyway.
Yeah, that's what we did when we went that first year in 2017. We got there. We was there first thing Wednesday morning. We got there Tuesday night, stayed in the parking lot over at the Bass Pro, and then Wednesday morning they opened the gates. We was in, because it's like you. I mean, you said exactly what I want. I had only been cooking for 3 years. If there, Sue said, "Why are we going to do this?" I was like, number one, I never would have ever in my life would have ever dreamed, hey, you're going to be cooking the American Royal for 3 years from now. And I was like, we're going to go. I said, I don't care what it cost. And it was for the experience. But after,
Sure.
you hit and it was fun, it was like, godly, and I'm looking forward to going back again now. So, hey, real quick, I want to give a shout out to this man, Brady. Man, I am so glad that you are here tonight. And I hope that you're safe from the storm. We just mentioned that at the beginning of the show. I know there was a lot of folks down there. It looked like Adam Gotro may have got a little damage to his trailer. I saw some pictures. But man, know that you're in our prayers and all the people down there. And congratulations, Brady, on getting the draw for the Jack. Go out and represent Louisiana well, man, because you are a heck of a great cook. And you have done great, and we're going to be rooting you on 100%. We're going to have to get you on the show either before or after to hear how either you're leading into it or your thoughts after you came back. So I'll be reaching out to you also, Brady. But anyway, but yeah, I mean it's a fun deal, and it's the people like what's some things. First thing, Lee's tip now, and here's Lee Hickle, right? Here's your tip. Make sure your gray water tanks are empty before you go. Yeah, you better make sure that black water tanks are really empty before you go. So, yeah. So my tip was to go and have fun and buy the ice early. It's $5 a bag. Lots of ice and lots of ice chests. And I think that's one of the things that you kind of got to have. There was a few little things, make sure that you got everything that you need. So get it. early if you can get there that Wednesday, Thursday if you see something you're out. Because, man, it's kind of hard to get in and out on a Friday. So,
Yeah, Friday it's all jammed up. By
yeah, it's pretty
Friday,
jammed. Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty jammed up on Friday.
Yep. Let's see. Brian. Phil was the first person we met Wednesday night in the casino parking lot at the 2019 American Royal. Great dude. Yeah. Oh, I'm telling you. So, oh, goodness gracious.
Man, we normally, it's been a few. It's just kind of worked out the way it worked out. But when the first year we went up there in 2018, we drove up Tuesday all day, and man, we made pretty good pace. And I'm like, hey, we had the motorhome, so we're like, let's stay somewhere. I'm like, hey, there's this big parking lot casino right next door. So we wheeled in there. I'm like, oh, look, there's other motorhomes and barbecue pit. Oh, people are staying here. And we met a lot of good people. Brian being one of them in 19. We did the same thing in 19. We had such a good time in 2018.
Right.
We just meet Tuesday night on the in the casino parking lot. Have a few cold ones and visit. It was a pretty cool deal.
Now remind me, I know there was a parking lot across. Was it a Hollywood or was it a Bass Pro Shop or was it both?
I think it's Hollywood Casino.
It's Hollywood. Okay,
yeah, but they might be looking out for us this year. You know, they sent out the muscle last time. We was having too good a time, and
oops.
They were like, "Hey, y'all need to keep it down." So I'm like, "Hey, next year we cook steaks. We're just trying to have a good time." But yeah, they weren't having none of it. We might have had a
well, we'll definitely our game plan. We're going to leave out probably about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock on Tuesday morning, and we'll be there probably that night about 6 or 7 o'clock. It's about 12 hours for us. So. 13 if we stop. And so you coming up Tuesday night as well?
No, we'll probably just leave Wednesday morning and get there. Okay. I think it's late 12. Wednesday. I think it's about 12 for us. And it used to seem like the longest drive in the world, and these days it just seems like another drive. So not a big deal.
Yeah, after all the driving you've been going to Wyoming, taking off up here, you guys are crazy. So
no, it is the bars. It's been. Set a little further. Used to it was like, oh, it's only 3 or 4 hours. It seemed like if it was over 6, it seemed like a long ways. But this year, it's under 12. I'm like, oh, cool. It's only
that's good. 9.5 Exactly. Oh, so I've got Philip. Let's see. Lee had another question for you. He said, "Do you recommend wooden barrels for barbecue pits?" There's got to be something with this, and I've been saving it because I want to talk a little bit about the cook. What kind of? All right. I want to kind of talk a little bit about your grills, but this kind of intrigued me. So do tell.
Well, I glazed over it. I didn't know anybody was paying attention, but leave it to Lee. He don't miss any details. No. So I guess we'll rewind a little bit. And I don't even know how I got this idea, but somehow I got this idea. A lot of my ideas work. Well, no, a lot of my ideas don't work, and some do. So
right.
Rewind back to that 2015 cook-off and late in 2014. I was getting ready for that cook-off in January, and somehow I got the bright idea I was going to make my own barrels. Hey, I need cookers, so I'll do drums. But man, it'd be way cooler out of a whiskey barrel instead of metal. And I don't really know how I thought of that, but I did. And I got my cousin Barry Fontenot, who's a legend in Hardin County, to round me up a couple of whiskey barrels, and I did. I ended up making those into drum smokers, and that was my cooker. So,
how did that go? How was the fire management on that? So.
Well, look, it was just it was the same thing. I made a basket in the bottom, and that the charcoal would sit in there, or whatever, or the basket would sit in that deal. And the first cook-off, it went really good. I hit that first place brisket, and then. The second cook-off, I was hauling those on a little utility tray, a little lawnmower trailer. And they're really heavy. Those whiskey barrels aren't light. So the first cook-off, I had, got all set up, the tents and all this crap. It's just a lot. And then I'm just kind of the person to, hey, how can we make this easier? So I'm always kind of just trying to make life a little simpler. Well, the next cook-off, I had those on there. It's like, oh, well, maybe we just leave them up and level the trailer. So that's a lot easier, right? Than wheeling them off. And that airflow underneath the boards of the trailer, it was like midnight. Those things were going, and it's back when we put briskets on at midnight because that's what you did. I got that thing going, and I'm on the trailer, and it's been a long day, but that's what we did back then. We just drank beer till late in the night, and this smoke, I can see the smoke from this barrel. And like it looked a little different, and it looked like it was really coming from the bottom and not really out of the top. And so I just kind of I moved it and shimmied it on the tray, and there was a hole in the tray. It doesn't burn the hole to the bottom of the trailer. So,
oh God,
we got a disaster on our hands, and there was a lot of people still. It seems like I haven't been up at midnight on a cook-off in a really long time, but. Man, there was a lot of people up there. Like, oh yeah, we'll just we ended up going somewhere near second base and getting some of that 60-40 off the infield at the Little League park and putting it in the bottom, and
that's funny.
Finishing the cook off that day. But that was the last time we used the wooden barrel. We retired them after. But we did hit first place on that cook off as well. So those wooden barrels never did worse than first place.
There you go.
I might go dig those guys up.
Maybe you need to take it to the Royal and blow everybody's mind. You'll start a whole new trend, won't you? So leave it to Lee Hickle to pull that one out. That is a great story right there. That is a great story. All right, so let's talk a little. What are you cooking on? What did you cook on a lot when your 2020 IBCA year? Was you using drums? Seems like I saw you cooking on some drums. And what are you cooking on?
No,
or was it drum?
Yeah, so shortly after that was his last cook-off, and in between that, I built the pit that I cooked on for the past, like 5 years after that, and still do. I cooked on it last weekend. So, I kind of at the time. Pit makers were pretty hot. And I'm like, sniper would be good. And it was metal, so I wouldn't burn a hole in the bottom. I'm thinking that was cool. It seems like it would last longer than wood. So I was definitely going to go after something made out of metal.
I love it. Oh, Phil, you're great, man. Oh, God.
I went over and talked to pit maker and yeah, man, well, it's running about 6 weeks. And I'm like, 6 weeks? I got to cook off in
6 days.
Weeks,
yeah.
And I'm like, well, I guess I'll just build one, So I did with the help of a few friends. I got Mike Jenkins owns a metal shop in Beaumont, and anyway, we built a barbecue pit. We kind of mirrored it off the dimensions of a sniper, but I'm like, hey, if a firebox fully insulated is cool, the whole thing's better. So anyway, we kind of built a pit inside of a pit, did it in 9 days, and it's powder coated, and it's still the one I cook on most of the time now. But this year I've cooked on lots of different things. I've flown to quite a few cook-offs, and when I do that, typically I'll borrow some drums, so I'll cook on drums. And then, I got a Jambo a few months ago, so I've been cooking on a Jambo a lot. And typically in like a KCBS cook-off, I'll have either the Jambo and a drum or my pit and a drum. Is typically the setup is my go-to these days.
What do you use the drum for? If you're using a Jambo and a drum, so what do you like to finish it? You like to cook your chicken on a drum, or?
Yeah, I don't finish. I really don't finish anything on a drum. I'll cook the pork butts. All of the time they're unwrapped. Most of the time will be on a drum, and then I either use my pit or the Jambo to finish. It's kind of like an oven,
right?
But
do you do the briskets? Do you do briskets on a drum and then go over?
No, brisket and ribs are either on the Jambo or my pit, and then pork butts when they're not wrapped are on the drum. And then chicken's on the drum as well.
On the drum, okay, yeah.
And most of the time, I get wild hairs all the time. Like, let's just do the ribs on the drum, So I don't really I'm not.
Right.
Lee's a lot more military than me, and I'm like, I get a wild hair when I wake up, and I might do something. So, yeah.
There you go. Well, that's pretty cool. So tell us, I think, the success of LC BBQ. I know it started off as Lucky Charms, and then you went to LC. And tell us a little bit about that. Tell us how you got into that. Let's talk a little bit about the product. how you
Okay.
may utilize it. You can tell us as much or whatever you want to tell. I don't push
Yeah,
information
for
like
sure.
that. So how did you get started in the rubs, and tell us what you've got? Kind of talk us a little bit about each one of them. If you've got some, I don't. If you have some there, tell us. Hey, this is my foul play. This is how I use it. What it's good for. Go through the process.
Yeah, for sure. So back then when I first got into cooking, the first few years, chicken was always the category I had to work. It came along last for me, and I played around with several different things, and it was a long time before I had any success in chicken. But I went all mad scientist in the kitchen, and eventually came out with what we know today as foul play. But that was sometime in 2015, probably 16, like 16, maybe. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say I ran foul play for a couple years before I ever figured out, how to sell it. Was
Right.
the part that I didn't know. It was the intimidating factor of like, hey, I got it, but how do you put that in a fancy shaker and then like put a barcode on it and stuff like that? That process I didn't know. And in 2018, when I was cooking a lot, when that's when I started really cooking every weekend, and Dennis Butterworth had won the Quest for the Best at HEB, and he had his product, out on the market then with Food Bar, and I was talking to Dennis. I'm like, man, I would like to do that with my chicken injection, and he gave me some pointers, pointed me in the right direction of people to talk to, and started trying to navigate that process, and finally figured it out, and we released Foul Play in July of 2018. So
I
our
got you.
chicken injection was our first product on the market, and
Yep.
that product was created by not having success, for whatever reasons in a certain meat, and I kind of took that mold afterwards of, hey, I ran it for 2 years. I won like lots of first place chickens. I forget how many I
Yeah.
ran before I, before I ever released it. But that was kind of the model I based LC barbecue on after that. And, quickly to say, you mentioned Lucky Charms. We competed um, after our first cook off, which was just Panther. That's another story. We might not have time for that, but we might tonight, which is really good. But every other cook off for up until, man, I think it was like February or March of this year when I officially changed our competition name to LC
LC.
Barbecue, has been Lucky Charms. So a couple hundred events, or close to a couple hundred events, we cooked as Lucky Charms. But when I wanted to start selling products, I knew I would at some point probably face the battle of taking down the giant of General Mills and Lucky Charms, which I felt like I would have won, but I
Right.
kind of did it to save the cereal. So I'm
Right.
like, hey,
Right. You,
just to
you didn't want to put them. You didn't want to put them out of
yeah,
business.
I mean, I love it still. It's delicious. My kids eat it, and I would have felt bad if they were like, Dad, you took down Lucky Charms. So
It's magically delicious.
somehow I ended up on LC barbecue, and that was born.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of the
Yeah.
backstory on LC barbecue. And then after that, I thought, hey, well, let's give it a go and let's have a round out our line and have products for everything. So I just started creating products and run. And when I felt like I didn't need to make any more tweaks, that the judges liked them as much as I did, is when I released products, and we've got
Yeah.
8 on the market now. So
Yeah. So let's talk a
yeah,
little. Have you got any of them there or not?
I do. I've got them all lined up right here,
Yeah.
Mike.
So let's run through them. You
Yeah,
got the foul play. Let's talk a
yeah.
little bit about the foul play and what it is. And
Yeah, so
okay.
this is foul play. That's our chicken injection. This was our first product that we launched back in 2018, and as you can see, most people know this, but you've
Oh
got
yeah.
a dry ingredients that you mix with your preferred liquid. I really designed all these when I built them to be mixed with water. But foul play, I use chicken broth. Most of the time, it's either chicken broth or water for me,
Okay.
depending on how dialed up I want to get. But yeah, foul play, chicken broth is water or chicken broth, my preferred liquid on that. Then we released our brisket injection, which is Playboy,
Play bull. Okay.
and that was in the fall of 2018. I get more than any other question that I get asked is, what's the difference between Angry Bull and Playbull? And
Okay.
simply, we have two different brisket injections. It's two
Okay.
different
So,
flavor
so
profiles. Yeah, Playbull was the first one we released, and we released it in fall of 2018. I ran it for a year. I ended up, I think, second in brisket that year.
okay.
And then about a year later, or a year and a half later, we ended up releasing Angry Bull. But when we were developing Playbull, the Playbull almost was Angry Bull. I was just kind of had two really good ones that I really liked both of them, and I ended up releasing them a couple years apart. So that's really the answer for that is two proven products, two
What
different flavor profiles.
what
So
what's the difference in the two, Phil? Is one got a little bit more spice? Is one got a little bit more savory? Can you explain the difference between them?
yeah, for sure. So Playbowl has 15 ingredients, and it's actually got more going on than Angry Bull. The names are a little bit deceiving. If I could do it again, I probably would swap names on it. Angry Bull to me is a little bit calmed down version. I think it's to me I think it's got rounded corners, and it just kind of cooks out really smooth. And Playbowl is what I'm going to go to. I don't use it as much because typically we're cooking $200 or $300 briskets that don't need a ton of help, and Angry Bull's my go-to for that.
Okay.
If I'm cooking a choice or something that in my mind, probably needs a help getting
Need
over
a
the
little
hump,
help. I got you. Okay.
I'm gonna run Playboy and hit them in the jaw.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So Playbull for a choice or maybe a
changes,
prime, and
sure,
then
sure,
an angry bull if you're cooking a good wagyu just to round out some flavor. Brisket's going to
yeah,
carry its own, but okay. Well, that's good. That's and I
yeah.
didn't know the difference, and I love these type of deals because we can always learn. That's what it's great. So what else you got?
Yeah. So after that, logically, pork would be the next one that we would have had an injection for, and that's Boss Hog. Uh, I think it's to me unlike anything on the market. Not that I've tried them all, but my products, I'm not trying to copy anybody. I'm trying to you know
Create your own.
pa- I'm paving my own way is what
Right.
I like to call it. All these products that I've created, I had a vision in mind of what I wanted that product to do,
Right.
and that's how I created them. So Boss Hog, while it's doesn't taste like anything out there, it's won me as much money as any product we have. I use it. I inject my ribs and my pork. I use it the same on both. So
Okay.
um,
Okay.
my
So that's your
my
that's
most
your pork
preferred
injection.
liquid is chicken broth on that. A lot of people are like, hey, I tried it the other day. I use apple juice and different things, and a sweet juice like that's just it's not the way I
It's not
like to use it. To
okay.
each their own. I always like to say there's no right or wrong in this. And just because whatever's on a label doesn't mean that's the way you got to use it. So I created a lot of this stuff out of creativity and just curiosity. So don't be afraid to color outside the lines. You
Right.
know.
Right. Uh,
After that, I kind of had to navigate the rub game because that was a new process for me too. And I wanted to start off in my mind with something that wasn't overly complicated. Everybody's got one, and that was an all-purpose rub. And that's when I came out with rawhide. That's our
okay.
all-purpose, and I just really didn't realize at the time how successful that rub would be. Um, we use it on literally on everything when we cook at the house, so it's kind of a base to most all of our meats. And just such a versatile product that adds a lot of flavor and doesn't overpower. That was a really
Balance.
good
Just
product.
good
Yeah, for
base.
sure.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what and then in my mind, that's what I wanted to do. Logically, you start. That's how I've always kind of layered when I've cooked. So you start with that all-purpose layer, and then after that is, depends on where I want to go after that. And certified was our next product, and that's what you know. I like to say I like on chicken and pork most often. So a rawhide and then a certified layer on chicken and pork makes a lot of sense. Is how I typically use those products. And then the last product we released, which has been well over a year now, was Last Call, and
Okay.
that's I like this product on beef more than anything. Although
Okay.
it does make a really good like standalone rib. So all these products are versatile and are not made to be used on any certain products. But Last Call, rawhide and Last Call and steak's pretty hard to beat. Around the house. That's how I like to use them
Okay.
anyway.
All right. With that said, Nathan's got a couple questions. How do you keep skin from splitting on half chickens? Is there a
Hey,
trick that you can?
let me know when you figure it out.
Yeah, that's for sure. Hey, KCBS, maybe when we cook it, man, we're finding out it don't matter if that sucker blows up. It seems like they score just as good as pretty chickens. So
I'll tell
I
you
think,
this. I asked myself the same question: what actually causes that? But I'll tell you when mine splits the most, and it's typically further along in the cooking process,
hmm,
and when you jam some heat to it. So,
yeah,
if you're
slower heat.
cooking at 300 and all of a sudden you bump it up to 330 or 350, my skins seem to split every time if
Yep.
I throw higher heat at them.
Yeah, back the heat down. I was gonna
Yeah,
say the same thing. Back the heat down a little bit, and not so much direct heat, as much indirect heat as you can. So
yeah,
that's what I
yeah.
have found. I cooked mine on my 22-inch WSM forever, and I would just crack my lid and I would look in there and I would see just a little glow of coals, and I'm running at 350. You start getting them coals percolating, buddy, it's gone. So
Yeah, when you jam up the heat, they'll
yeah,
typically split every time. And I'll tell you this: when it gets to that time, it's typically an hour and a half in. It's further along in the process when you're gonna blow out skins. But
yeah,
if you start having one, I mean, if you're paying attention, you'll start to see one. I mean, if
yep,
we're talking half chickens,
you can
it
see it.
doesn't matter if we're talking half chickens or thighs or legs. They'll all do it. But yeah, when you start seeing that happen, it's going to continue and it's going to blow out.
Yeah,
So heat
absolutely.
heat seems to be the culprit in
Yep.
my mind anyway.
And the next question he had: can play bull be used for a steak marinade? Have you ever
Mm.
tried that?
That's a good question. I have not tried Playboy as a steak marinade, although I have Angry Bull as a marinade and as an injection.
Okay.
Um, so yeah,
Okay.
not that I have any SCA accolades,
Uh,
but when I do, um,
Nathan's a big SCA cooker, so
okay.
good.
Okay. In
Hey,
fact, I've actually
give.
had some SDA cookers tell me,
Yeah,
"Oh, they're using those LC." I'm like, "Well, really? I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know."
There
So
you go.
it's a just an organic happening
Yep.
of the product line.
All right. Papa Joe said you forgot one. Tell us about hinge wrench. What was the deal with hinge wrench?
Yeah, sorry. I blew through the rest, and then we went through the rubs. But and thanks for reminding me. I appreciate it. But yeah, hindrance as actually, I'm sorry, our latest one that we released, and
Yep.
this is our brine. Can be used as an injection. I know a lot of people that do use it as an injection. So and foul play can be used as a brine too. But I designed them for foul play to be an injection and the hindrance to be a brine. So
Okay. So there we
I
go.
use
I
it,
didn't.
and I get this question a lot too. Can you use them both? I do use them both. So in KCBS, obviously, it doesn't matter. My typical process: a brine and hinge wrench, and then I inject with foul play as well.
Foul play. Okay. Well, I tell you what, you got some great product. Once again, we're gonna throw that website back up. I've had it up there. I just took it off when I let me see if I get that. There we go. You can order any of Phillip's rubs at lcbbqshop.com. lcbbqshop.com. He has got some absolute wonderful rubs. I would imagine this is an arsenal and just probably at least 50-60% of the cooks out there. So I'm sure they've got one form or another of your LC rubs. I mean, you've got some great product, and Phil, I really appreciate what you've done. You've taken the time to do it right, and you've proven it. It's competition proven, and I think that's the key. Darian's got a question. Do you mix any of your seasonings with your injection?
I've played around with it. Kind of like a rawhide and an angry bull is, um, you know, in the direction definitely as like a blues hog, bold and beefy. So
Right.
yes, I actually have played
Played
around with
around with
that.
it. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
and um, I know some cooks that do use some of the injection as an outside layer and as a seasoning.
Okay.
It was also just like not really anything I thought of beforehand, but cooks are really good about, it's inherent in me. If you use somebody's product, you want to tell them, hey, I won something, which they're happy for it. And it really means a lot to us too. And whoever those products are. So appreciate all the
Right.
support. Appreciate all the people who do use our products. Mike,
Right.
I did want to mention, you got the website. Y'all can order direct from us at www.lcbbqshop.com. We ship daily. And we're also in 30
All
plus retailers around the
well,
nation. So,
all of our partners that you see, I know Papa Joe Grilling's got it. I know
yeah,
the
yeah,
barbecue store's got it. I know Lone Star Barbecue Pro Shop has got it. And I would imagine it won't be long. You'll probably have John Lindsay reaching out to you because he is wanting to start carrying more barbecue rubs. And he just opened up steakrubs.com. So he's kind of
awesome.
told me, he said, hey, you let me know whose product to get. And I was like, you got to get Phillips. It's a staple amongst so many cooks. So
Yeah,
I'm
for
sure
sure. And
he's going to be.
yeah, and I know you got a lot of listeners out there too, Mike, and not all are from Texas or whatever different parts of the country, but if you have a retailer that you like to go through and they don't have our products, just tell them to reach out to us.
Oh,
We
yeah.
would love to. We've grown mostly organically. We
Mm-hmm.
Most of the ones that we're in today is because they reached out to us and wanted to carry our products, and that's typically grows from the consumer going, "Hey, do you have LC barbecue?" And
Right.
at some point they go, "No, who's that?" And then that process unfolds where they find us and get in there. So,
That's
um,
good.
yeah, we want to be accessible to everyone, and I know shipping's a big deal if you can combine products. Yeah,
And get it to him. Yep.
for sure.
Uh, Kevin wants to know, you come into Bust and Burn?
Um, when is that? Sorry.
I don't know. Busted. I don't know when that one is.
um, I'll just, since he asked that, I'm going to Banjo Q. It's a KCBS double in Georgia this weekend is where I'm going next. Then I'll be at
Sep,
Alvin.
sep, he said September the 10th. So you'll probably be on your way
Okay.
to the Royal.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think so. That's Alvin Music Fest.
Okay.
I'm going to cook
So,
that.
okay. And then
Told
you're going to go to the Royal.
Stacy Brenneman a long time ago I would cook that, and I'm looking forward to that cook off. Then we got the roll the following weekend, and then honestly, I don't know the rest of the. I think we got
Rest of the
about
schedule from there.
maybe 6 weeks left after that, but I imagine it's going to be all KCBS focused, just winding down the team of the year races and all the meets, and overall, we'll
Right.
be
Right.
focused on KCBS to round out through the end of October.
Yeah. Well, I've got one more thing that I want to bring up, and that's that little man right there. Uh,
Ah,
I know that you have got to be proud of Reed.
that's
Um,
awesome.
I I know that he did very good. I think it was the last time at the American Royal. Didn't he cook a burger and get a top 10 in burger in the
Yeah,
kids? Yeah,
yeah.
and
He
it
cooked in 2019. He was actually reserve grand champion
reserve grand champion. I
in
knew
the
it
kids
was up
year.
there.
Yeah.
I know you got to be proud of him. I remember the story on Facebook. He was at a competition. He got first place, and the guy said, "What's your team name?" And he said, Running Boar Barbecue. And you was like, "Where did he come up with that at?" Just like bam, right off the whim. And I was like, "I love it." So anyway, and I saw him with his Running Boar Barbecue shirt on, and I'll tell you what, he is a great young man. So I know you got to be proud of him. I know he's super happy for what you do and everything else. And
That's awesome.
I couldn't go without bringing up Reed because he is great, and I'm sure.
It's really cool. He's been practicing all summer, getting ready for the Royal. He's created this new recipe. He's ran, man, I don't know how many times, Mike, maybe 4 or 5 times over the summer in different. It's all been in KCBS, and and all
That's
over,
good. He's ready.
Illinois and Colorado. I think I want to say he cooked 4 or 5 kids Q this summer, and he got first on all but one of them. So
Wow.
so he's got that process pretty dialed in, and I think he'll be as prepared, much more prepared than the last time. When
Yeah.
he cooked in
Yeah.
2019, the kids have to be 6 years old to enter, and he turns his birthday's on September 6th, so he was like 6 or 7 days. He was 6 years old, so he's really really young.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he started practicing beforehand to do that. And the kids queue at the Royal is really fun. Tons
Oh
and
yeah.
tons of kids and
Yeah.
big old area. They got them all out there cooking. So
That's fun.
yeah,
That's gonna be fun.
for everybody that's going to the Royal, and if y'all can make it to support the kids, it's a big fence off area, and you can root them on and cheer
Yeah.
for them, and just lend support to the kids. It's a really cool deal.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolute. No doubt. Oh, goodness gracious. Let's see. And Johnny's talking about don't forget the battle for the paddle on 9/11. U.S. Navy SEAL Danny Dietz Memorial Classic Barbecue Cook-Off, $25,000 payout. Absolutely. Make sure y'all get down there and support those as well. Well, Phillip, I tell you what, man, it has been so great having you on here. We appreciate all the information that you've shared. I'm looking forward to getting out and being able to hang out with you at the Royal. It's going to be a great time. And I appreciate it. You got any closing thoughts?
Yeah. Hey, so just our prayers and thoughts go out to the folks in Louisiana dealing with the aftermath of the hurricanes.
Yeah,
Been through that plenty of times. It's never fun. Yeah, that and the prayers also. COVID's been a big deal around the country right
yeah,
now, and a lot of. I think probably all of us have been touching one way or another by it, and our prayers go
absolutely,
out to all the people battling that, and hopefully for healing and for everyone.
absolutely, absolutely. And I'm also going to echo our troops as well. We need to keep our troops in our thoughts and prayers, especially all those that are been left behind in Afghanistan. It's just I hate seeing something like that. You don't leave nobody behind. They want out. They desperately want it out. And I know that I've seen they've already got Green Berets and stuff that are going in and getting them out behind the scenes. I've seen some reports on that. There's 2 or 3 different groups that are doing that. And let's certainly pray for their safety as they get in and out and get these people out of there. So
Amen.
anyway, God bless them, because we wouldn't have the freedoms that we have if it wasn't for those men and women fighting for what we do. So anyway, well, Phillip, man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being on here for Barbecue Champs, and I love it, appreciate it, and looking
Keep up
forward
the great work, Mike.
we're
Really
trying.
appreciate you having me on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys and gals, until next Tuesday, Lord willing, at 7 o'clock Central, we will be back. And the following Tuesday, I will be on the road to the American Royal. I don't know if I'll be able to get back to be able to do that. I may have John Lindsay fill in for me. I'm going to talk to him about it and see if perhaps he can. If not, don't worry, because that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday leading up to it, we will have our film crew there. We'll have a lot of live behind the scenes, so you're going to get a lot of action from us here on Barbecue Champs Academy Facebook page. And until next Tuesday at 7 o'clock Central, have a lot of fun and smoke on.